Meet ZoomLock, the 10-second flame-free refrigerant fitting from Parker. Reduce labor costs by 60% with no brazing, no flame, and no fire spotter. Discover how ZoomLock can help you be more efficient and productive. Visit ZoomLock.com for more information.
Imagine a car ride, but I'm not at the wheel. I'm up in the attic here on the zone system. I worked on it before, but since the zone is so small, they have a small bonus room zone here. And they like to keep it very cold, or their son does. So they are just electing to get rid of the zoning because it's so lopsided between a large zone and a small zone. It's just having too many problems. It actually froze up a couple times. I had to put a freeze stat on it. So I'm going to shut the power off here, and we're going to just wire the zone system out of this one because it's really not properly done. And they're going to put a mini split upstairs is what they said. Your Weathermaker 2-zone comfort system, that is not comfortable. So we're going to take it out. We have zone, let's see, we have zone 2 here, thermostat, zone 1 here, different sensors. We have our equipment terminals here, and just our damper terminals. We can disconnect the damper terminals altogether, try to get this whole thing out of here, and just make the wire from zone 1 to the equipment wire so it'll control the equipment. My panel taken off the wall. I had the wire coming in from zone 1 stat, had to wire in a reversing valve wire. You can go onto the equipment, and I'm just going to leave this out for a second while I'm testing. All this other stuff's going to be useless junk now, transformer, sensor, and damper wiring, as long as the dampers are normally open. I do believe they have an adjustment where I can lock them in place anyway, so they can just sit there and be open forever until someone wants to take them out somewhere down the road. Back to the air handler and trace down what wires I would need out of here just to double check. And I made my unions up there. Had to disconnect, the supplier sensor, which is right here, is no longer in use. The wiring going to the dampers up here is no longer in use, so I can disconnect that or just cut it off or whatever. The damper has a stop in it, as you can see right here. Up top has a couple stops in it I can set to keep it in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and finalize this stuff, just double check my wiring over there in the wall, then I'll fire it up and see how it works. Make sure I didn't blow any fuses. Take these stops out here. You can move them all the way down to the end. Move this damper down whenever it opens up and gets power on. It should open up, so I can lock it in place way down here. Therefore, be good to go. Guys, I started up the system and we were running in heat. So I jumped out the reversing valve over here, if you can see. I had the reds 24 volt hot with the reversing valves here, so it would switch over. Got a nice 55-degree line temperature here. I used the clamps to keep it on and get a good connection. So it looks like a pretty good system, so I can use my meter for checking temperature on lines pretty easily. So that's all well and good, but why was it in heat? So I thought about that. Went over here to the other thermostat, which I disconnected. When I see that it has terminals for a heat pump, then I look around and say, oh, cut R19 for AC. So when it's cut it. So there's no way for me to undo that, so I'm going to have to get another thermostat for downstairs. Guys, I had the Fluke 902FC up here measuring our pipe temperature again. I put our wires back together. You can't really see them that well, but they're there nonetheless. We're about, let's see, 58 degrees, 57. It's kind of moving around a little bit, 57. So if we give ourselves about 12 degrees of superheat, maybe 12, 13, well, 12 to 15 we'll say, that puts us right in the neighborhood of a 40 to 44 degree coil. So that's pretty good for the temperature we got downstairs. That's a little way you can check it out as far as getting in the ballpark. Because these train expansion valves, usually outside they give you around 17, 18 degrees of superheat. So you can take a few off that at the air handler, which is where we're measuring it, because it's going to acquire a little bit more superheat in between here and the outdoor unit. So looking pretty good. We're running in cool when we're supposed to now, and that's the mission. So I'm going to leave it here and head on to the next call. With dirty hands, blood stains intertwined, right away each morning, to grind it out another time. The faces in the mirror, and not as young as they once were.
work, but they're proud.